Growing Jamaica's economy is a task that involves all of us. Along with the efforts being made by the government to market our products, we must ensure that we buy Jamaican to build Jamaica. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Coming up in this half hour, JUTC passengers travel cashless, not because they're broke, not at all. It's all about technology. That plus study tips for exams and the top news of the week. You don't want to miss this lineup. I'll have more for you right after the break.
$20 more, but the bus is on time.
$20 more, but I get to work on time.
$20 more,
but the ride is safe.
And the journey is calm, nice and cool.
$20 more, I use my new Smarter card and that's it.
I use my new Smarter card and I don't pay anything extra.
That's mine.
That's mine.
That's mine.
That's our improved JUTC experience.
Travel with the JUTC. Take the ride, enjoy the experience. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, your route to excellence.
Technology drives economic growth, and in Jamaica, we've used that knowledge to improve our transportation system. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company has a new cashless system. Here's your opportunity to take that cashless ride.
The world and the way we live as human beings are constantly evolving towards new targets of efficiency. Technology is a driving force behind the new social order. And as part of the developments, an emerging cashless society is rolling out in full force. From buying goods to paying for services, everything is becoming electronic and automated, even in transportation. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, designed to operate as a centrally managed state-of-the-art public bus service, is up to the time with the technologies and is taking its customers on board.
Many of the first world countries and other countries that are far more developed than Jamaica have chosen to go this automated route.
As of June 1, 2014, the JUTC is a cashless service.
This means that no commuter will be allowed to pay cash to take any of our buses.
The new electronic fare collection system utilizes a Smarter card, an upgrade on an early attempt to go cashless. The new card is easy to use. Commuters simply swipe it on the card evaluator installed in the bus and select the option for the desired fare. The amount is deducted and the ticket is printed.
The receipt will have things such as the driver's number. It will have the date of purchase. It also has the time of purchase. It also has the balance that would be on your Smarter card.
All of this makes for a fast way to go about your business and less distractions for the bus operators, whose safety is also being improved with the new system.
The drivers themselves would be normally collecting the fares of the passengers, and this can amount to large volumes of money sometimes. So for safety, we recognize that this is the way to go.
And since commuters need not walk around with cash for fares, it's also a deterrent to pickpockets. JUTC is also expecting its operators to now have more time for improved customer relations without the worry of keeping track of money. Ahead of the June 1 crossover to the cashless system, the JUTC acquired and began distributing over 60,000 Smarter cards to the public. Distribution outlets have been strategically located within JUTC's operating zones.
We want to ensure that every commuter, once they so desire, can easily access a Smarter card.
Cards are in circulation at JUTC sales offices in the corporate area, including the JUTC Spanish Town lay-by in St. Catherine and the Halfway Tree Transport Center and East Parade office in Kingston. There is no cost for the card itself and application is easy.
There's a form, simple form that you fill out. It has a profile that will be created for you, and that profile is what will be reflected on the card every time you use it. The areas of the profile sheet include things such as your name, your age, your occupation, and most importantly, your date of birth.
Your Smarter card comes blank, and you will need to put an amount of your choice on it and top up after.
We're advising the traveling public that you put on what would be the equivalent of a round trip. So it is advisable, if you're an adult, for example, you put $200 on. That would be the equivalent of a round trip. If you're a child or any of our special groups, then you would put on a minimum of $40, which constitutes a round trip.
Children up to 11 years of age are issued with a child card, which means that they can access the concession fare 24/7. Children between the ages of 12 and 20, once in uniform and with an ID, pays the concession fare as well. Over 12 to 20 with a student card will pay the full fare on a weekend.
Top up as your pocket allows, up to a maximum of $20,000. Special groups, including children, the disabled, and the seniors, pay a concessionary rate of $20 with the Smarter card. Have you got your Smarter card yet? Get it now. And if you already have it, then start using it. Persons who wish to find out more about the Smarter card can call the JUTC head office at 749-319229 or the Smarter card hotline.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the hyping. You think I saw we reach a the aging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
External exams are just weeks away for high school students, and by now you should be bosom buddies with your notes, right? If not, it's time to open those books and begin reading. Here are some valuable tips to make the top grade. Some of our youth share their stories in the next feature.
When it's gonna be my time to shine, now I'm in my prime.
Hi, I'm Troy Josephs. I'm 18 years old and I recently did my CSEC exams at Calabar High.
Troy received 8 ones in mathematics, English language, chemistry, physics, information technology, history, geography, and religious education.
It was intense. It was really intense. I studied more than I slept. I'm being honest, I really did. I went home in the afternoons, I'd do my homework, study, sleep till about 8 o'clock, get up, and that's it. I go right through the night and go back to school. The easiest exam was, I don't want to say physics, math was pretty easy too. And the hardest, I'd say the first one was the hardest, IT. I was nervous. It took me about 20 minutes to settle down. I was wiping my hands, I was all over the place. But yes, I think IT was the most challenging, where that's concerned. I was on my laptop because I checked it via the internet. I was taken aback. I was really, really nervous. I was there sitting down, waiting for the page to load. And as it loaded, I saw like the first 6 ones. And I scrolled down and I saw another 2 and I was just in tears. I was really happy. I was like giving God thanks and everything. I had hard-working teachers. They saw me through everything, SBS and stuff like that. The teachers, they have to be credited. And of course, my sisters, my mother, everybody else who've been motivating me. And of course, God, because without God, it would have been impossible. So go to 6th form for a year at Calabar, do the aviation program at JC, sit on my SATs, and by next year I'll be going to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. At least that's the plan. because at Embry-Riddle I can pursue the career of a pilot. If you want to be successful where the exams are concerned, it is required that you put in the work because you only will reap what you sow.
Wolmer's girls, age, quad, agis. Whatever you do, do it to the best of your abilities.
And that she did. 17-year-old Omalara Asumo got 9 ones in mathematics, English language, English literature, physics, chemistry, biology, French, history, and information technology.
Well, it was a bit hectic at first because I was nervous, yes. But I put my mind to it. I said, look, I have to do this because it's necessary. I'm not going to repeat. And it was a little bit of juggling because I had SBAs in between. Some subjects I didn't really like, but nonetheless had to do the work to get the grades. So I tried my best. Well, there were challenges as with anything else. The labs, which were somewhat hectic because some teachers want specific things and you have to dig deeper to find exactly what they want. But there were good times, lunch times when my friends and I decided to enjoy ourselves and work on labs, and it was good. I was at home, like CXC told us that they were giving it out at August 10th at midnight. So I was home and I was on Facebook tracking the progress because if the results are out, I'll definitely hear. So I ran to the computer and I've typed in everything and it wasn't coming up. I was frustrated. So I called my other friend because we're there bantering each other. I was like, look, the results are coming out. So when the page finally came up, because when it's loading, the nerves are like, oh my God, what am I going to see? And a million thoughts are racing through my mind. And when I saw the ones, I jumped, I screamed, I rolled on the floor, I cried, I hit the wall, my ring all dent up. It was hilarious, but I just thank God for everything. I would like to become an obstetric gynecologist in the future. Hopefully those plans don't change. And when I'm established, I would like to own a restaurant and also establish a fashion business, although I don't really have a clue about fashion in terms of clothing and those stuff. Well, do your best, work hard. If you want grade 1s or 2s, anything that you think is acceptable, you have to start working now because you're not just going to go there and say, oh, I want a grade 1 and get a grade 1. So work hard, be diligent, and focus on your goals.
Congratulations to Troy, Omalara, and all the other students who were successful in CSEC. The 2014-2015 fiscal year is here. Tune in as the Finance Minister opens the budget debate on April 17. Dr. Peter Phillips will be followed by the Opposition Spokesman on Finance on April 22 and Government and Opposition members on April 23. The Opposition Leader will make his contribution on April 24 and the Prime Minister makes her presentation on April 29. The budget debate will close on April 30 with the Finance Minister. It's the 2014-2015 budget debate. Stay informed and keep watching Jamaica Magazine.
Fostering voluntary compliance and collecting revenue due in an equitable and efficient manner are two core features of Jamaica's tax reform. Learn how this process will improve your standard of living next.
Tax reform is a critical component of the government's economic reform program. The main goals are to simplify the tax system, increase the number of persons who pay taxes, streamline the tax incentive program, as well as to collect money that is due to the government. To boost the revenue collection process, the Revenue Administration Amendment Act was passed to promote compliance in all sectors of the economy through increased access to information. To facilitate the process, it is now mandatory for 3 main categories of persons to electronically file their tax returns: large taxpayers, companies with an annual turnover over $500,000 or more, persons filing a GCT refund return, and employers with 20 or more employees. Self-employed persons have also started to use the new SO3 form to file their tax returns. By using this single form, they can now file their income tax, education, NIS, and NHT taxes all at once on a quarterly basis at the tax office.
There's also the benefit of having not having to pay on a monthly basis in respect of education tax, NIS, and NHT, because what we have done is to make it consistent with the quarterly payment for income tax. So it would be easier for self-employed persons and more beneficial for them in terms of cash flow management.
Tax reform under the government's economic reform program also involves a major change in the tax incentive regime. The idea is to have a rules-based system as opposed to a ministerial discretionary system.
You don't have to apply to the minister for anything. Once you fit within that regime, the incentive is almost automatic. For example, once you're on a manufacturer, you're entitled to all the benefits that comes with that.
To support the move, 4 laws referred to as the omnibus legislation have been passed by Parliament.
Objective of the omnibus was to try to put those incentives that are being offered in one piece of legislation. So when you need to invest, you just look directly to that piece of legislation.
The laws also make provisions for tax breaks to be given to the primary inputs to production, those things that are used to produce goods or services. The omnibus legislation, particularly the Fiscal Incentives Act, brings together over 20 pieces of legislation into a single framework which will make it easier for taxes to be administered and understood. Under the Act, unregulated companies and the self-employed individuals now qualify for an employment tax credit once they file and pay their tax returns on time.
And once they have done that, come March 15 of 2015, which is when the income tax annual return is filed for the period relating to 2014, year of assessment 2014, they'll be able to enjoy a credit on those payments that they made for their employment.
And in keeping with the provisions of the Customs and Tariffs Revision Amendment Order Resolution 2013, government has lowered the import duty on specific products.
The legislation brought forward the reduction in import duties for some commodities such as auto parts, jewelry, new tires, televisions above 32 inches and watches.
For example, the import duty on auto parts has been reduced from 40 to 30%. The duty on jewelry, which stood at 50%, now stands at 20%, and new tires, which attracted a 35% duty, now have a rate of 25%. The Charities Act, which was also passed in Parliament, will allow for the registration and regulation of all charitable organizations operating in the country. So the government has been embarking on a number of measures to make Jamaica's tax system simpler and efficient, going for growth, staying the course, and transforming the economy through its economic reform program.
On the board this week, the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation invites you to its Gospel on the Waterfront. It's at the Victoria Pier on Ocean Boulevard next Thursday, April 17. Come reclaim Kingston for Christ. Starting time 6 p.m. For further information, call 967-4196 or 279-0708. The Waterhouse Caribbean Gardens Foundation invites everyone to Six Love Unification. It's a celebration of achievements and unity in the community. The event will be held on Good Friday, April 18 at Grenada Road, Kingston 11, starting time 5 p.m. Activities will include an award ceremony, stage, and game show. Come and be entertained by local talents. Celebrate and raise funds for the development of the community. The Bethel United Church of Jesus Christ Apostolic is inviting everyone to its convocation from Monday, April 21 to Sunday, April 27. Also, benefit from the Health Expo on Saturday, April 26 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Residents of Stadium Gardens, Swallowfield, and South Camp Road areas are invited to Wellness Fair 2014. It's at the Edna Manley College, 1 Arthur Wint Drive, Kingston 5. The date is April 25 and the Wellness Fair is open from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. There will be yoga, dance fitness, massage, blood sugar tests, and dental checks, inspirational talks, and more. Send us your events for broadcast on the JIS Community Notice Board. Call 922-868-022 or send an email to cbishop@jis.gov.jm.
June 1 is the date for the official rollout of the JUTC's cashless system. Customers are already seeing the benefits and told us about it when we went out the road.
I usually pick 1, 2, 3 and go. Right? It's good.
You don't have to take out the money, I just put it on there and go through.
It's much easier for me because you see, I don't have to worry about having the cash right away to pay the bus. So when I come and just put it on the machine and it go, I don't have to wait that long to make change or anything.
It's very speedy when you go on the bus. I just got my card and I'm thankful for it because I can save back $80 from $100, so it's good. You get to get through fast when you're on the bus. You don't have to stop to get any change or anything like that. You go up, you punch your card and you're gone through.
The top news stories of the week are next.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller attended Expo 2014 at the National Stadium and made a call for more manufacturers to return to exporting in order to drive economic growth.
Achieving the growth we need will require that we activate dormant exporters, expand our production base, and enable new entrepreneurs in the export sectors.
She said underserved niche markets must be filled and encouraged sole traders, micro and small producers to formalize their operations and join a professional association to grow and expand their businesses.
We must also focus on the authenticity of the Jamaican brand, the growing global market demand for our foods and beverages, fashion, fine art and craft, which are in high demand by overseas markets.
In the meantime, $123 million has been allocated in the 2014-2015 national budget to strengthen Jamaica's capacity in the export markets and decrease trade deficits. The funds will go towards the Economic Partnership Agreement 2 capacity building project to accelerate exports, enhance competitiveness, and further integrate the economy into global markets. Implemented by the Planning Institute of Jamaica with monetary support from the European Commission, the project should see a wider scope of improvement to laboratory services that meet international requirements and standards on food safety. Jamaica and Venezuela, meanwhile, are set to forge greater ties in matters of trade and commerce. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller recently met with a Venezuelan delegation, including the General Secretary of Petrocaribe, and indicated that a number of important initiatives were being discussed.
Venezuela is looking to be engaged in terms of trade with us, and we are to identify areas as well that we can trade with Venezuela. And we did not discuss just trade with Jamaica, but trade with our CARICOM region.
In other news, it was announced this week that the Youth and Culture Ministry is developing a national plan of action for an integrated response to children and violence. It will outline existing initiatives and seek approval for new measures to specifically address the problems facing children and caregivers in children's homes and should be submitted to Cabinet shortly.
Efforts to be made to engage the non-government organizations, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, media and entertainment fraternities, international development partner communities, and other civic society groups to assist driving some of these initiatives through the provision of financial and technical support.
The Youth Minister's pronouncement is in response to data from the Office of the Children's Registry, which show increased cases of child abuse. It also responds to reports of neglect and a wave of antisocial behavior by some children in state care. Transport, Works and Housing Minister Dr. Omar Davies has told JIS News that the Jamaica Emergency Employment Program, JEEP, will be focusing on long-term development projects in the 2014-2015 financial year.
We'll be beginning the redevelopment of the National Heroes Park. There's the housing which will continue. The pet recycling project, which is one I'm perhaps most excited about, where we're aiming at collecting about a third of the plastic bottles which are distributed around.
Under the PET recycling project, which was launched in February of this year, 35% of plastic bottles will be reclaimed over the first 3 years. Jeep will contribute $50 million towards the project, while the private sector will contribute $23.5 million annually. About 300 jobs are expected to be created. Government is taking further steps to make Jamaica fully compliant with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, the FCTC.
Our intention at this time must be to create a comprehensive tobacco control bill. We need to be able to control products that are deleterious to the public health, such as tobacco products, within the ambit of the World Trade Rules.
The effort is being supported by all ministries and agencies and other relevant entities who set the groundwork during a recent interministerial meeting convened by the Ministry of Health. And finally, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, this week assured commuters that it was safe to use a public transport service in the wake of a spate of attacks on buses flying routes 31 and 32 in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region Monday morning.
I want to assure our commuters that the service is safe, and we assure them that proper security arrangements are put in place. The routes are being patrolled by the police. The Transport Authority is out in its numbers.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
This is where we close Jamaica Magazine for today. Be sure to join us when we return tomorrow with more useful information. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISnews. And our website, jis.gov.jm, remains a constant portal for the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to eat well, exercise regularly, get some rest, and make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.